We're all about the Archers. I'm Philippa.
And I'm Quentin.
And we are here to talk to you all about what's happened in the Archers so far this week and what has happened this week. My goodness, we will be covering episodes on Sunday the 5th, Monday the 6th and Tuesday the 7th of May. There will be spoilers. You have been warned. So, Quentin, my cue, what did you think of the week so far? What did you think about tonight, Tuesday's episode?
Oh, my word. Well, my P, I mean, I just want to first of all say what a dull week it's been. I mean, what are we going to talk about? We're going to struggle tonight.
Food, that's all we can say, food.
Food. An episode that finishes with the doctor's words, Fallon, you are pregnant, would normally fill an entire podcast. But, I mean, that is just an aside, and I'm assuming you were furious about this because we've discussed this before.
Absolutely hopping mad about that, yes. But anyway,
I knew you would be.
Do carry on.
But I told you, did I not, that this child issue would rear its head? And hey, so, I mean, that is just, I mean, what I want to say is that the storylines pretty much have been set up for the rest of the year in the last 3 days, let's be honest. I mean, let me just go through my overall observations for what we have got to sort out. George's call to will be crucial, of course, in the evidence. Will his father do the right thing and disclose it to the police, or will he erase it? Will Alice and Fallon's friendship ever recover? What are the child custody implications for Martha? What are the likely charges Alice will face if George's deception works? What will the psychological scars be for all those involved in the crash? Joy for the trauma and guilt in selling the vodka. Fallon for nearly drowning trapped in a car. Will George's heroics in rescuing Fallon rekindle his crush on her? Will Rochelle visit? Did she visit tonight? Well, we don't know. We never heard from her. Will she visit her injured mum? And what about Alistair and Denise? Rumbled on their way to a night of passion in a hotel. How will the village react? Credit for those last two, courtesy of Karen Drazy from our Facebook group. I mean, you got storylines here to take you into the next millennium. I mean,
we
that's
can
incredible.
tell you that we can tell that you have been a newsreader with that announcement. Then that was very good. But yes, Rochelle is real and alive and has visited Joy. I think, yeah, that's what they said tonight.
Mick didn't see her. I reckon Joy said to him,
No, I think Mick intimated to me that he had seen her. Yeah, she's been. So I think that is. Yeah,
no, he said, I just missed her. I just missed her. I don't think she was there. I think Joy's making out she's had a quick visit. Rochelle,
because the hospital
is
would
a
have called
phantom
next
daughter.
of kin. I'm taking.
Until I hear
happy
from
about
Rochelle.
that.
Okay, all right. What else are you? Well, what do you want to talk about?
Okay.
I mean, it's just, yeah.
Well, let's
incredible.
pick up some of the things because yes, we've got a lot to cram in a very short amount of time. You mentioned about will keep the message secret and help George. Well, I don't know, you probably remember, but on Friday, last week's episode, Will mentioned that he could never access his voice messages. He didn't know how to. Ooh. And he told that to George when they were at the meal, when George was showing off his brand new phone. So will William be able to access the message or not? That might not happen.
Can I just suggest something on that point? The police will be taking everybody's phones. They'll see that he's made a phone call to Will. They'll have seen that he left a message, so they will probably access that message themselves.
Yes. And we've heard Robert in recent months doing all the neighbourhood watch, going around checking the CCTV in the area, checking everyone's ring cameras. Not that they use the word ring cameras, but video cameras on their front doors are working. So we know
remembered.
You know, there's thousands of video records of possibly what happened. So yeah, that's something else to bear. It's so interesting, these seeds that they've sown over the time are sort of coming out. But the main thing I just have to say is bravo to the whole Archers team. The drama, the screaming that I've done, you know, that moment when Mick said, "Oh, Fallon," and you realise Fallon was in the car as well, and then incredible.
Where's
So,
Joy?
Yeah,
Yes.
amazing
Yes.
scenes. And really bravo to the whole team.
Yes. Can I throw a lob, a bone of contention in with some levity as well? I'm indebted to one of my favourite tweeters, Miranda, who's known as Apple Android App on Twitter. And she said when everybody was in the water, she said it sounded like a mass public baptism. She said it sounded like a mass public baptism, which made me chuckle. And I counted 6 people in the water by the time Alistair and Denise dived in, and I felt it was being teed up for somebody to come a cropper, and I felt it. I'm glad they're all alive and barely injured. Honestly, I am. Maybe not George, but anyway. But he was very brave. But I did feel it was a bit of a dramatic. Potentially, was it a bit of a dramatic cop out that everybody survived, nobody was really injured, and it's business as usual apart from Alice. Alice is going to get prosecuted. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. As a flop, I've written, I'd have liked a death. I'm sorry, but yes, it's true.
God, right. Who? Out of that lot in the water?
Well,
there's only one obvious candidate, I suppose.
Yeah, nobody. I don't want to, because they're all so precious, but it would have just added to the dramatic tension. I can't.
Pick one,
I can't.
Go on.
I can't. I'm
Well,
not picking
one
any
obvious
of them. They're
candidate,
all
isn't there?
wonderful. Yeah, so tonight we heard Alice come out of the police station and really questioning what's gone on. What did you think about that?
Well, I think there's some really interesting. She's got fragments of memory, hasn't she? I remember hearing George's voice, and what else did she remember? She says, I remember putting the keys in the glove box. So I think when the forensics are done on his phone, they're going to find his fingerprints, aren't they, on the wheel, and also the gear stick. Unless he had the wherewithal to wipe those down, but he was trying to drag Alice into the passenger seat, so I don't think he had time to do that. I think he's going to get found out, and these fragments of her memory will stitch together to get her off, because she's an Aldridge, for goodness sake.
But I can imagine that we're going.
Sorry, yeah.
I can imagine that we're going to have Emma Grundy defending George, and isn't he amazing? He saved everybody's life, and being awful about Alice. Yeah. And then she's going to have to completely retract that and see a different picture. So, and it's just fascinating how 1 minute I was like, I don't like George. Then I thought, oh my goodness, actually is George redeeming himself? And then no, amazing. Within
nanoseconds, he'd turn into a snake again, having been a genuine hero, gone in twice to help people. And I thought, is this the redemptive moment for George? But it was literally a moment. He was just thinking number one straight away. Now we'll be the pariahs of the village. Kate wailed tonight. That was funny, wasn't it?
Yes. Kate was playing bad cop. Brian was good cop. Kate was bad cop. My goodness.
Yeah, Kate was really just telling it straight to Alice, wasn't she? Saying, how would you feel if the offender came to see you? And again, Brian, full of remorse, I should never have said those blasted words, which seemed to have tripped Alice into all this. It was the last straw, wasn't it? It was the last straw. But there's so much regret. There's Brian regretting it. Joy is going to regret even selling it. Alistair saying, well, she's an adult, she can do what she likes. Actually, I'm sure a shopkeeper can actually refuse to sell booze.
Because Jim has. I'm sure Jim has
I'm sure
refused her. So,
right. Well, he diverted. I think he once diverted Alice away, Yeah,
and Jakob's going to feel guilty. It's going to be like Top Trumps, who feels the most guilt in terms of Alice in this situation.
He's dripping with guilt. I think everybody's going to have PTSD after this. That's just the listeners. So,
Do you think Alistair had been drinking as well? Because they talked about having pre-dinner drinks and drinks during the meal, and there was a lot of drink talk in the whole few episodes. I mean, food was the only things mentioned were biscuits and snacks, but drinks, we had sparkling wine, vodka, beer, fruit cider, pre-dinner drinks, nightcaps. It was literally a very alcohol-laden episode on Sunday.
Well, you've missed out some crucial food. The fact that Denise was saying that Alistair can have her pudding whenever he likes, which is a bit
Pudding
naughty,
with
I thought.
custard.
But not her
Yeah.
custard. He can't have her custard, and he thought he was going to get his custard on the way to the hotel, and he didn't. So when's that going to happen? Oh, please get on with it. And,
Please don't. Please
any
don't.
other food? No, I'm right. I'm going. You mentioned snacks, haven't you? Fruit cider. Does that count?
Well, I put that as
Joy
one of the drinks.
sold George
I mean,
fruit.
yes.
All right. Okay.
Painkillers. I thought, could you say that's a food? Because she
No.
had to consume them.
God,
but
you're
I knew I
desperate
didn't like Denise.
You're
and
desperate to get food in.
But the fact that Denise doesn't like, the fact that Denise loves custard, that's her main thing. I was like, yeah, you and me are through, Denise. That's it. We're over. I thought we were, and now
You don't like
I know
custard?
sure.
You don't like custard?
No,
I love
way
custard.
to spoil a pudding. No. That's why we don't have to share puddings.
God,
We're fine.
Crumble and custard. Oh.
I've a subject or a phrase I've discovered today that I didn't know about before is secondary drowning, which I didn't know was a thing. But I am a bit worried about Joy and secondary drowning. Apparently, this starts within 24 to 48 hours of the first sort of drowning incident and can be incredibly serious. Right. So, yes, we just hope that Mick keeps an eye on her and the hospital, because we definitely don't want that at all.
Yeah. Right. We better get onto the pregnancy, because you're itching to rant about that.
No, I don't want to at all.
Do you?
The minute the doctor said, got some test results, I just thought, here we go. I don't know.
Well, that's another.
I'm really disappointed in.
That's another storyline. Do they keep the baby or not?
They will. Because Chelsea had the abortion recently. I don't think I'd love it if they did another. Well, I'd love it. You know what I mean? I would just prefer that Fallon makes the right decisions for her and not feel forced into something. But they're going to have the baby, and it's
now Harrison knows he could be a father. I think it'll overwhelm him to want to keep it. Myself, I think that's how he'll argue, but he'll go with whatever Fallon wants. But she'll be under incredible pressure because she knows how much he wants to be a father to keep it. So that's a huge storyline. That is huge.
And that could then force them apart in the end. You never know.
Well,
so yeah.
I know.
Oh dear.
So the crucial thing, I think, is that call to Will. That could tip it, I think.
Yes. Now, can we talk about location? Because all this was taking place near Hayden Bridge. I've been doing a lot of looking at maps today. And because in the centre of Ambridge, there is like an A, roads that form an A. And I didn't know if it was the bridge near the stables and the bungalow right at the bottom of the A. But actually, from the way Alice was talking tonight, I think it's the further bridge, which looks to be on a sort of smaller tributary of the river. I know I have been overdoing this, but anyway. So I was intrigued how the car could be immersed so much. But I guess with this time of year and all the rainwater, there's a lot of flooding.
Right. Have you satisfied yourself, Philippa, now?
Yes, I have. Oh, but one other thing, can I just very quickly mention this?
The AM is expanding anyway.
I've seen... Yes, it takes narrowboats now.
Rex lives on it now.
What next?
Exactly,
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
But just very quickly, there's been a couple of people I've seen that have said, this is too much drama. The Archers has changed beyond all recognition. I'm not listening anymore. And to that, actually, I would argue that we've always had these dramatic times. 1955 when Grace died in the fire. 1963 when John Tregoran's wife died in a car crash. 1982 when Polly Perks was killed in a crash between Pat's car and the milk tanker. There have always been these times of high drama, and I just
Nigel
think we
and the
should
Roof.
be more applauding. Oh, exactly.
Nigel and the
much
Roof.
more up to date things. John and the Tractor. There's so much.
Yeah.
So yes, I just think it's.
I can
brilliant.
see why your appetite for a death was whetted then, P. Yes, since you've been looking through the history books.
I'm sorry. It would have just added to the dramatic tension. But
yes,
never.
I
never
thought here we go.
mind.
They're not all going to get out of this, but hopefully Joy won't have the secondary drowning. I want Joy to survive.
Yes, absolutely. Do you think Mick should have seen that it was George driving? I know it was dark, but in the sudden lights, wouldn't you see? I don't know.
I guess if you're swerving and you're blinded by the headlights, quite possibly not.
Okay, well, we're almost out of time. So, who's your star of the week,
Yep.
Hugh?
My star of the week is a team of people on the Archers, and I want to say the star of the week this week are the brilliant sound effects in the water that were created and the whole rescue. So I want to give the star of the week, with the sun shining behind me. Look, looks like a star, doesn't it? I am in a car again, long story.
It does.
And not in Cornwall. Are the sound engineers and the Foley artists, okay? On the Archers this week. They're my stars of the week, as your T-shirt says, P.
Yes, who's your star of the week? My star of the week is Holly, the actor who plays Alice, because, my goodness, I think, the whole cast, crew, team, script writers, directors, everything, but I think Holly really has ramped it up even more. Predictions, very quickly, any predictions?
Do you want any of my faves and flops? I mean, we haven't had those yet.
We haven't got time. We're out of time, I'm afraid.
Okay. Can I just put one fave in? I'm glad that people are now starting to come to to back up Jakob and tell Brian he's not to blame. Well, I was very upset about Jakob, so I was pleased that Alice and Kate both told him. Anyway, I squeezed one in. Prediction, I had two. I've sort of mentioned one. I think Alice will lose Martha and embark on a drunken, destructive binge with Harry.
Yes, my two are Harry is going to get out of rehab and return to Ambridge to witness the consequences of all that's happened. And my other one is that there's going to be a sharp rise in the purchase of head torches in Ambridge.
Yeah.
But that's it. Now, just very quickly, there will be a longer version of this chat on YouTube, as well as more information on us in the show notes with merch, Facebook links, Patreon, everything in the show notes. And on Saturday, there will be an interview with the man himself, Mr. James Cartwright, who plays Harrison Burns. We interviewed James yesterday, and it is, I have to say, a corker. He was such fun.
Yeah,
we can't wait for you to
fun.
listen and watch it. Yeah.
And ladies, he is wearing a sexy white vest. I'll say no more.
But until Saturday, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's a very goodbye from me. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.